All right, day 69. So today's Sunday. I'm planning out my week. So this week, this week, guys, we're gonna take a step forward. And before I get started, if you're new to this, business model is buying businesses. We're gonna create a portfolio of businesses that we're gonna buy through debt. We're gonna create a portfolio and sell for a higher multiple. So we're gonna buy businesses for 3 times multiple, and we might sell for 6, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 times multiple, depending on how big of a portfolio it actually becomes. So this week, guys, we're actually going to take the next step. So I have a meeting tomorrow with one of the board members, and I'm going to confirm his position on the board. And yeah, I messaged one of the accountants. They didn't respond, so I'm going to go to the second option and just finalize the board. And in the meantime, you probably shouldn't do this, but the board is basically finished. So in the meantime, I'm gonna do cold calls to businesses. So I'm planning on doing 100 cold calls a day at least, maybe 200 a day. And that probably equates to like 2 to 4 hours of straight calls. And I could probably do it for sure on Monday and Tuesday this week, but beyond that, because of the new job situation, I'm gonna fit it in, whether it has to be in the morning and then some during the day or whatever. But I think 200 a day. So like at the end of the week, we should have 1,400 calls done. 1,400. That's a lot. I wonder what 1,400 could do. I'm not even really sure like how the whole like situation is gonna really transpire. Like I know what I need to ask to make an offer. I think I just need to take action, take the next step, and it'll kind of like fall in line by itself. So it's exciting, guys. Next step, we're gonna actually finally look for these businesses, and we're finally gonna start checking out these numbers, man. So that's pretty cool. At the end of this week, we should have some kind of result for sure, at least something. I'm gonna call on Saturday and Sunday this week. I don't care if it's a weekend. I literally wasted this past weekend doing like mediocre tasks at best. Really, these calls is like gonna be pivotal for me. So 700 to 1,400 calls this week. Now for my list, because like who am I gonna call? 1,400 calls. Like where am I gonna get this data? So I bought a list today, guys. I bought a list from one of the websites that provides lists. It was like $200 or something, like 196 and 200-ish, right? And I remember saying in one of the previous videos that there's only 300 options in my city. And I was kind of reviewing the stats and the website I went to, and today it showed like 1,100. So that was kind of weird. So I bought the list, and 600 out of the 1,100 was one company that owns 600 companies here in just the area I live in. Just the area I live in, like the metroplex I'm in, they own 600. So I technically only have 600 to call. Yeah, I was just wondering if like I did it wrong or something. But we're gonna hit those calls, and it's only like 600-ish, so I'll probably finish it on like Wednesday. And then the rest of the week, I'll have I'll have the information from the freelancer that I paid. But he only has 300, so that'd be like 900-ish. And then the rest of it is just gonna be off the government list that I have. And that list, guys, is like the Wild West because it's not very specified. So we'll see. I'm excited about this next step, and yeah, also kind of nervous. Like, if I do like a LOI, I'll try to close it in 90 days. That's probably too short. Like I've heard a lot of people say like you need to do 180 days, like 6 months. which is insane. 6 months is too long. But yeah, I saw some of you guys' questions. Someone asked, he was like 15 years old. He said, what do you tell the board members when you're on a meeting? How do you close them? So you kind of have to craft this in your own way. Because in the beginning, when I first started, like, you definitely don't want to read off of a script. You want to hit key points, and you want to sound very articulate. You want to hit them with numbers. You're more prepared than they are, so you have to come off that way. You have to know how to lead the conversation so it could land exactly where you want it. You have to hit all their objections before they even bring it up. So common objections for board members is like, why do you see this industry as being attractive? Like, how did you identify it? Like, what's your story basically? Like, how did you come to this conclusion? Are you going to put any of your own money? How are you going to get the money? You need to tell them a little bit about the board. You need to, like, those are the ones off the top of my head. There's like a decent, like, maybe 10 questions. Like, and there's questions that they are going to ask you, but then you have to ask your own questions that you need to know. Like, you need to know, like, their experience. You need to know how many transactions they have been through. You need to know how big of transactions they've been through. And then it depends on the position. So depending on the position, you'll ask something for the position. Like, if they're an accountant, you'll ask, what's your experience with a quality of earnings or an audit? Like, can you perform a quality of earnings? Like, have you ever performed a quality of earnings? And I saw another question that said, what are the board positions and what's each one of their purpose? Like, what do they do? So there's different opinions on it, right? You need, me personally, guys, my board, I have, well, it's still being finalized, but I have 2 industry experts, people that have spent their whole career within the industry. I have 2 lawyers. So one of the lawyers used to be a judge, and he's a retired judge, but before he was a judge, he was a lawyer, and then he became a judge for, I think, like 10 years-ish. And he specifically worked very, like, I don't want to, like, give off too much information, but he was very specialized in the industry we're in as a judge, so he knows a lot about the details. And a second lawyer is like an M&A attorney. Like, he has a lot of experience dealing with, like, contracts for mergers and acquisitions and sale and purchase agreements and amendments, and reading through contracts that the business may have. Like, if a business is doing business with a customer, you have to verify it. You have to read through the contracts. So they have experience with M&A. So those 4, and then an accountant. So yeah, 5, and then including myself, we're 6. So that's my board. And the way it should be, guys, is you need an industry expert, a lawyer, an accountant, and then some people think you need an investment banker. So those 4, and you could have multiple of certain positions. Like industry experts, you might have 3 of them, for example. But investment banker, his purpose is to help you raise money. So if you want to get loans, he'll have a lot of relationship with people who give loans. So investment banker, you use his relationships to get loans. Like, each one of these positions, they have relationships that can help you. So a lawyer, he'll have, you know, the experience you need for contracts, like I mentioned, and a law firm. Law firms have a lot of connections as well, so they'll have intros to law firms that you could get into. Accountants, they do quality of earnings reports, etc. So the accountants, they basically help you with, like, the P&L, like the Excel sheets and the balance sheets, to figure out what the real numbers of the business are, like what's true and what's not, right? And then the industry experts, they're going to help you know more about the industry, like know, like, what are the real type of expenses you should expect in the industry, for example, like how it is employing people in, like, a certain area, or like they basically help you identify if a business is well operated. So those are the positions, and those are why each of them are very important. So I emphasize the hell out of that word. Guys, I was in a suit today, but guys, I've been coming home super late and I just get so tired. I take off my clothes and then I remember I have to make these videos. It's been getting hard to get consistent, guys. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna stick through it. We're gonna make this happen. At the end of this week, what if like something crazy happens, man? If I actually stick to what I'm saying right now, yeah, we'll see.